that because he played him?
Well, yeah, the bathroom.
Afternoon, all.
Afternoon.
Were you happy sitting there?
2-2, so. Give it another shot.
So I've had it today, Sam.
Brought out the big guns for this one.
If you say so.
Where is he?
That's Sam.
On his day off.
He's having a day off?
Yeah. We've got it sometime.
Match day -1. Right, do you want to kick us off then, Sam, and then we'll come to you, Donny?
Yeah. Right, if we start with fitness, any new developments this week?
No, actually I think it's the same. So still Lungi out, handful of weeks. Barnsley actually looking good. I think he's still it's still going, according to the plan. But I think actually he's looking a little bit better than what we expected. But still also a couple of weeks with him.
Yeah, you said you were open to avoid surgery on Christian Fastnacht down on Lungi. Are you going to still be able to do that?
I think so. Yeah. Fastnacht is in a place where we have to take that decision, but because he will also be out for a while. So it's a matter of just see how it goes the first couple of weeks to find out whether a surgery is needed or we can actually we can avoid that, which all of us hope for. So we have to wait a couple of weeks.
I also wanted to ask you about Jose Cordoba.
Yeah.
Where do you feel he is? Obviously not started a league game, but had a few minutes now. Would he be in contention to start tomorrow?
Yeah, that's fair to say. And like I said a week ago, the plan is still with him. We need to build him, especially physical, because he had so little rest in between the seasons. So we need to be careful. But of course, he played last Saturday, and is definitely in our plans for the game tomorrow.
Yeah, there was obviously some big news last night. I'd say Sienats became your player. What sort of player do you think you've got there?
A good technical player, a player that can cover more positions up front. He can play to the right. He can play as a 9. He can play the 10 position. He's a good technical player. Also some size. He's a tall guy, so can also give us something in the, of course with headers, but also in set plays where he will be an important player for us. So I think he's actually also what we spoke a little bit about. That's instead of having strikers that are quite similar to, then instead looking for options where they can cover more positions and they can do a little bit different from some of the other guys.
Yeah, given the strength of Josh Sargent up front, do you feel like for his development and getting game time it was important that he's versatile and can maybe help another?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say, because of course if I was a striker looking at Josh being the number 9, I would maybe be a little bit careful about taking that step to another club. But it was in our plans that it needed to be a striker that had experience in playing more positions than only the 9 position, and Ante has been playing that and is game fit. He played 90 minutes last Sunday, so, and also in a position just behind the striker. So it's a guy we are really excited to have him in the building now.
Yeah, but he's only 20. Obviously, it's a big step up. It's going to take a bit of time to adapt as well, isn't it?
It will. I think it will. It will for every player joining this league and this country. It's competitive. There's a lot of games. It's a tough league, and that's a part of it. But that's also what he needed as the next step in his career. So he's up for it, and of course, everyone knows what it takes to be able to compete here in this league, and we have to support him. But he's ready, and that's also what is important for us. That it's not a player where I think we have to wait for 6 months or more than that for him to be ready. I think he'll be in the mix, and I think he'll be also competing for a starting position already from day one.
Do you think that's important for all of the signings you've brought in this summer, or is it about a bit of a blend?
It depends a little bit. Of course, when we look at players, when we sell players from certain positions, we also need to bring in players that can cover these positions. They can be ready to step in and play directly from day one. I think with other signings, it's also okay that we build a little bit for the future as well. So Some of the young ones that can be brought in as well is maybe a little bit more for the future than for now, but still it is important that they can add some value to the team from day one. Otherwise it will make no sense for us to bring them.
Yeah, he's also your fifth signing this summer that's left-footed. I don't know if that's a conscious thing.
We spoke about it the other day, and it's funny.
It's not.
It was not something we planned when we started the season and said, okay, we only need to bring in left-footed players. That was not something we planned for.
Does that mean you might be about to bring in a right footer?
I think there will be a right-footed player in the building soon.
Yeah, I'm sure you won't give me the name, so I'm going to bring it up. Oscar Schwartau, I think I've got the pronunciation right there. Obviously somebody who we know the club are interested in. What are your thoughts on him?
He's a good player. He's a player with a very good timing in his game. He's good at reading offensive situations, joining the box at the right time. Has a good vision for scoring goals and being involved offensively. Can cover a lot of ground. He has a good physique. Played early in the Danish league and has been used to a competitive environment for several years now, even though he's young. So a player, of course, that's interesting for us.
Yeah, I think he scored a pretty nice goal against you.
I can't remember that.
Yeah. So where would you say that deal is sort of along the line? Is that something getting a bit close, maybe?
I think it's fair to say it's getting close.
Yeah. And,
let's see.
Yeah, in terms of the exit door, obviously a couple of situations there as well. Maybe the most advanced one looks like Jonathan Rowe. Can you tell us sort of where we are with that now?
We are there where we have given him permission to travel to visit another club and negotiate on his own, his personal terms. So that's where we are. Of course, it's football, so still many things can happen. You never know until it's finalized and everything is signed. So many things can happen, but we have accepted that he can travel.
How did it work with? I know last week you hinted that maybe there might have been sort of a meeting with the team and things. Did he get the chance to have that before the acceptable bid came in? Yeah,
he had that. I think it was very good, and I think talking about Johnny's behaviour the last couple of weeks has been very good. So nothing there. He also had this. He spoke to the team and of course was sad about the situation, which is, like I also said, something that can happen but should not happen, and we should always be able to, of course, forgive and move on, and that's how it is. But also still knowing that it's not like you can just as a player behave like you want to behave because you want to have a transfer. So we were pretty clear also with Johnny and his supporting team that it will take a good offer for us to accept it. It's not like you can just come and knock the door and say I want to leave and then we accept that. It's a little bit the same story with Adam, where there was some offers in the beginning of the window. It was a clear no for us. So we cannot give any players away for free. So we have to wait and see. But it seems like it's going to be a good deal for everyone here. Yeah.
Does it feel like a disappointing way to end this time at the club? I know you obviously haven't been working with him for long, but for a fan favourite to be leaving in this way, does it feel quite disappointing?
I think it is. I hope that we got to a point here towards the end where it got a little bit better. I hope the fans as well will also forgive him in the future. I hope the fans will be in the future be at a place where we can also welcome him back, if that's going to be the case someday. You never know in football. But I think definitely the last couple of weeks have been better, and also Johnny accepting that it was not the right thing to do, and also telling that both to players and staff and everyone in here, and we've been supporting him. So I think it's always a little bit sad when a player leaves, and he's been a part of this club for so many years, when they leave in a bad way. Yeah. So I think we have still with this case to see if we can remember the good stories and the good memories. And like I said, hopefully, if that's going to be the case in the future, we can see Johnny back again.
Did you get the sense that he was quite disappointed with how things have ended, especially sort of with fans? And
I think he was a little bit surprised maybe how it turned out and the reactions about it and so on, because it was definitely not a a decision on game day where he have thought that much about, okay, what will actually be the consequences, what will actually be the reactions from fans and media and so on after this. And that's sometimes tough learning, but it's sometimes the best learning you can get, because now he's about to go to a place where it's fair to say there's also some pressure, and you have to be able to deal with also fans that are quite passionate. So hopefully it was good learning, tough learning, but good learning, and I think for every young player it's important to have at some point in their career.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously there was a lot of stuff around it, but ultimately it is another positive story, isn't it, in terms of the club's model and developing a player through the academy and then selling them on for a significant fee.
I think I think more or less everything around this transfer window has been very positive. I think it's not many clubs at the Champions League level where they make transfers out of the building on the amount of money that we have done so far this window, which is impressive. Still, we have to invest them again, so that can be the future case again for us, that we have good players here in the building that can perform for the team, and then at a point in their career take the next step to an even bigger club than this. Because it's when we create these stories, when we have these stories, it also open up players' eyes out there in the big world, and they look at Norwich and see, okay, it actually makes sense for me to come here, because it's a good club, I can perform in a good league, and it can be also a good step for the player in their careers. So many positive stories in this window so far.
Obviously it's a lot of quality to replace, but it gives an opportunity for the players left in your squad to step up, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And what we still have to look at is, of course, do we need to strengthen the team? Some areas where we can maybe need one or two players more, and it of course also gives us the options to do it, but still important for us that we look at the players that are in the building now and the players that are ready to take the next step in their careers, because it's important for us that we also open up that door. And now it was Gabe the other night against Blackburn, where I don't think many of us in here expected that he would be making his debut in the first home game of the season against Blackburn. When we also, fair to say, when we started pre-season, it was not something that I expected either. So, but it's important for us that we open up that door, and the players, they feel and see that door is open. Of course, we have to do it with the right timing and find the right balance in the team, because we have to be able to perform. We have to be able to make good results also when we play tomorrow. But it's a part of the strategy that the young guys they need to be able to see that there's a future for them here.
Yeah, I think one of those that people would have assumed might have been able to step into that role was Abu Kamara. News broke earlier this week that he's handed in a transfer request. If you could just tell us a little bit about how that played out and how you found out about that.
Yeah, to be fair, we've had a lot of talks actually with Abu, and he's been talking to us openly about the situation, that it is a little bit difficult for him at the club at the moment. And I think he was disappointed that he was not starting the first one in Oxford, and he was disappointed that he didn't start against Blackburn. So sometimes for young players also how to deal with these disappointments, because there will be disappointments now, but definitely also in the future for him and more or less for every player. So it's hard to deal with that, but he's been open to us and we have had conversations about it. Of course, it was a little surprise that there was a transfer request, but it's sometimes how it is, and he cannot always also affect the guys that are supporting him. But he's quite open about the situation, that it is a little bit difficult for him at the moment. He finds the things here a little bit tough with the competition and all of that. So hopefully we can get him in a place where again this can be learning for him and valuable learning, so we can take a step in the right direction for us. But also, of course, we have to understand that if he doesn't want to be here, then we of course can be open to that as well. But it's the same like with Adam, it's the same like with Johnny. We cannot give any players away for free. So if we decide that the option and the offer is not good enough, then there will be no deal.
Yeah, if you compare it to that Rowe situation, obviously he sort of let the team down on the opening day. But does this feel like maybe slightly less of a significant step, even if it maybe isn't ideal?
Yeah, it is, because like I said, Abu has been quite open about it, and him and I have had some talks also this week and also the week before. So I knew about the situation. I knew that he found it difficult, his situation here. So it is something that we have been speaking about a lot, I would say. So I don't think it's the right decision to hand in a transfer request. I think actually we can find better solutions than that. But he's also still young and he's also still learning, and sometimes emotions can take over. But he's been dealing with this in a way where he's been open about how he feels and his situation and so on, which is so much more easy for us also to respond to, and so we know what we have to deal with here.
Will there be sort of disciplinary repercussions to that, or do you not see it in that sort of
No, it's not important for us because, like I said, he's been quite open. So there's nothing hidden in this. There's nothing that's been a surprise for us. It's been easy for us to see that he's struggling a bit, and we try to support him the best possible way. We have a great supporting team here that will do everything they can to see if we can support a young guy in a situation in his life and career that is a little bit tricky, a little bit difficult. That's everything we can do, and then of course we also need to be open for him to leave the club if that's the best case. But like I said, we can only do it if the offer is right.
So will he be available for selection this weekend?
He'll be available because he's been training with us and there's been nothing regarding that. He's been in all week and he's been a part of the team all week.
Last transfer question, I promise. You've obviously announced that Guillermo Montoya won't be staying at the club. Why was that decision made?
Again, we spoke with Monty after the first part of pre-season. We gave him some minutes to see where he was and for us to find out whether he could actually compete for that left back position or maybe be the backup. And we found that maybe that was too big a step for him to take for now. And then of course some contract stuff and so on, where it for him will maybe be the best to go out there as a free agent to be able to find the next step in his career, and that was okay for us. We wanna support him the best possible way in finding another club, and this was a good option for both parts here. So that's more or less it. We gave him the chance, and we decided that he was maybe not close enough to the team.
Moving on to this weekend in Sheffield United, what sort of tests do you think they'll provide?
It's going to be a tough one. It's a good team, Sheffield. Of course, they come with Premier League tempo in their legs. I've been watching the last couple of games they played. They have some good players, good technical, skilled players, and also some physical, strong guys that can cause us some troubles. So definitely, we have to be prepared, both in possession, out of possession. So it's a game where we have to be focused for 90 minutes plus, otherwise they can cause troubles and they can score goals more or less out of nothing. So it's a tricky opponent, a good side.
I was watching Chris Wilder's press conference earlier today, and he mentioned the fact that maybe his team wouldn't look to press the whole time and win the ball off you the whole time. Does that create problems for you when you want to bring on that press and then play through it?
I think what we can expect is that some teams will do it, some teams will not. That's how it is. We prepare, of course, for both. We can see when Sheffield they play, sometimes they step up, high pressing, especially when the opposition they have goal kicks. And then also some parts of the game where they sit back and defend a little bit lower. So it is something we prepared for. And of course we need solutions in all parts of the game. So we need to see it as an attacking opportunity for us when they put us under pressure, and we need to see it as an opportunity for us when they defend low. So we have trained all week on this, and hopefully we are prepared.
You obviously haven't won a league game yet. Is that weighing on your mind at all?
I'll say it's mostly about the performance. Of course, I would love to give the fans a home win tomorrow. I would have loved that on Saturday as well, and especially also because it was so close. Don't get me wrong, it's always a better Saturday if you win than if you don't. So, but still, we are in a phase of the strategy here and the style of play where we still have to build. So we have to really be careful not to look too much into results. The performance is very important for us going forward. And again, don't get me wrong, we do everything we can to win the game tomorrow. But a good performance for us is also very important.
Yeah, given what you spoke about just there in terms of the performance and the process a little bit, do you feel you've got the patience maybe from the fans? It feels to me like that, at least to start.
Like I said Saturday after the game, I was surprised, but also proud of the reaction from the fans, because I definitely felt that. I think the players felt the same. I mentioned the situation with Gabe where he came off and was still applauded by the fans, even though the result at that time was 1-0 up for Blackburn. So definitely we feel that, and it's so important because it's not something you can just expect and just take for granted that it would be there. But it's hugely important for us, and it's hugely important for us as well tomorrow, because there will be tricky moments in the game. There will be difficult moments in the game. And again, what we felt, especially after that 1-1 goal on Saturday, was a huge, massive feeling for us, and it gave us that boost to go for the second. So it means a lot to us.
Just a couple more from me. I wanted to ask you about that sort of centre back position, because I think it's fair to say Shane Duffy and Grant Hanley have had a decent amount of criticism for their performances in the last couple of weeks. But do you feel that experience is a valuable part of that defence?
It is, and what is, and with all due respect, because it is difficult to see, especially from the outside, but sometimes you also as a coach need to take into consideration what the players they give on a daily basis. And here we talk about two experienced players where they give a lot to the environment, they give a lot to the young players, they have the energy to go and support them. Grant did it the other night against Blackburn, even though he was not playing, but he had the energy to go and support some of the younger guys who was about to play the game and so on, which is so important for us, which is so important when you change the direction of strategy and style of play a little bit, that you have these experienced guys that can be on pitch or at least close to the pitch and support. So that's of course also something we need in games, and for the moment we have decided that there's competition on the centre back position, and we have 4 or 5 players available for these positions, and what we aim to do is to find, going forward, 2 players that play the most games for us, but of course that there needs to be competition on every position.
Yeah, does it feel like maybe there is still a bit of adaptation that's required, and how far along that journey do you feel?
Yeah, there is definitely, and there will be. We will sit down here in September and nothing will be perfect. But like I said, it's important that we can perform, and it's important that we can perform on a weekly basis still, even though we are building. That's sometimes the tricky part in football. But that we definitely have to do, and I also expect that the team will be much better in October than what we see now. But again, we have to be able to perform. We have to be able to get results. We have to be able to celebrate wins on a Saturday, even though we are still expecting to be better.
Yeah, just wanted to finish by asking you about Boris Sainz, who obviously had a very good performance last week, and I think is somebody Norwich fans thought could step up and become a real star player this season. Do you feel like that's maybe starting to happen?
He's a fan favorite, huh?
Yeah.
I like him because he's an emotional guy, and what you see is what you get. There's nothing being hidden or anything like this. He's just all out whenever we play games. So it's sometimes it's important for teams, and it's very good for teams to have these players where he's out there when the game starts. He's going, he's pressing, he's running, he's moving, he's counter pressing, he's dribbling, he's trying to shoot. So he's so much involved, and that's exactly what we need. And again, also to raise a good atmosphere with the crowd. He's also one of these players that can create that atmosphere in the stadium, because he can do something on his own once in a while, and he can do brilliant shots and dribbles and stuff like this. So I think he's definitely moving in the right direction, and I was actually pleased with his pressing game on Saturday, because he was covering a lot of ground.
Thanks, Johannes.
Donny?
Hi, nice to see you again. Just 2 questions. First of all, Sheffield United, in the past, there have been contests which have been fiercely competitive because of their former manager, Neil Warnock, and some fans have described it almost like a Norwich Ipswich derby. Are you expecting that sort of contest?
Yeah, of course, it's a little bit difficult for me to say when I'm not used to any kind of derby feeling. With the first time in my career as a coach, I'm going to play against Sheffield United. What I can guarantee is that we will be at the stadium on time, and that's first part about creating a good atmosphere and creating a good game for us tomorrow. But of course I like it, and players like it when there's a little bit tension, when there's a little bit in the air. You can feel it, you can smell it, and there's maybe sometimes a little bit more than only 3 points at stake. So we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a tough one, but hopefully a good one.
Yeah. And regards Antti, was that a player that you were aware of beforehand, or is it one that Ben sort of presented as a target, so to speak?
I didn't know him when I was in Denmark, but it was a player that I think one of the first days I came in here was brought up, and we discussed him, and we actually tried to set up meetings already back then. So it's a player where it's been an ongoing process for, what is this now, 6-7 weeks. But like with all other transfer deals and players in, outs, it takes time, it takes a lot of conversations, a lot of talks, a lot of negotiation, and it's never something that can just be done overnight. So we've been pushing, we've been hoping. At some point we maybe didn't think it was realistic for us, and then we found out, okay, we could actually get it done, and that was important for us, and that's exciting for us. But he's been one who's been on the board for quite a while.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Donny. If we could have the cameras off at the back of the room.